All right, it is the Sports Mashup number 13. May 26th is today's date, the last one of May. And then we'll be early June, full force into the summer as we get through these episodes. It's going to be every Wednesday that we're going to do one of these, so we're not going to take anything off. I don't assume that that'll happen. But let's start with the NBA as we usually do. Maybe talk a little bit more about it since the playoffs are here, I guess. Because who cares about the regular season at this point? But before I get into the thing that I put at the beginning, we do have some updated series scores here. You got Memphis leading 1-0 against Utah, and then you can take it from there because I have a comment to make on the Suns thing, so you can go ahead.
Yeah, so anyway, in the playoff brackets in the Western Conference, you got number 1 Utah versus number 8 Memphis. Memphis is up 1-0. You got 4 Clippers versus 5 Dallas. Dallas is up 2-0. Got number 3 Denver versus 6 Portland. They're split 1-1 right now. Then you have 2 Suns versus 7 Lakers. They're at 1-1. And then you have the Eastern Conference. You have 1 Philly versus 8 Washington. Philly is now up 2-0 as of tonight. So we recorded this after that game just finished, as well as what other game just finished? The Knicks Atlanta. So 4 Knicks versus 5 Atlanta. They are now 1-1. Then you have 3 Milwaukee at 6 Miami. Milwaukee is up 2-0. And then you have 2 Brooklyn at 7 Boston. 2-0 Brooklyn, which is even tough because right after this, Tatum left game 2 in the third after getting poked in the eye. You're already missing Jaylen Brown. Probably, I'm thinking for the rest of the year, unless they make a really deep run, somehow coming back on Brooklyn. But if you're missing Tatum for a significant amount of time with this eye poke, it's going to be a tough run for Boston even doing anything against the way Brooklyn's playing right now.
Yeah, I never thought that Boston would have that much of a chance anyway, just because of how good the Nets have looked. And, they completely dominated the first 2 games, no doubt about it. There's a couple series.
The first game was at least somewhat close.
Yeah,
Joe Harris
first half for the Celtics was very good in the first game. Then
Joe Harris didn't play that well. Blake Griffin didn't even score at all in the first game.
Yeah.
And the big 3 scored like 82 of their 104, 114 points. And then we won by like 10 or 12.
Yeah, they're good enough, though, to where if the team is not that close to them, they can not have a good half to start and then just run a team into the ground in the second half. But the thing is, I don't think the Wizards have a chance against the Sixers. That series is 2-0. I don't think that's even close. Dallas and LA, the Clippers and Mavericks is probably the most interesting series because Dallas being up 2-0 is significant, especially since they beat them in LA both times. I find that to be significant. Then Memphis and Utah is tough because Donovan Mitchell missed game 1. They're playing right now.
And Luka's showing why he should have been in the MVP running.
I guess so. Donovan Mitchell is playing tonight. He's already got 12 points. So I'm expecting Utah to respond tonight. But as far as Denver-Portland goes, I think that's going to be a tight, close series. Jamal Murray obviously being out for Denver is significant, but I still think Denver's good enough to get the job done there. And then Milwaukee, Miami.
Yeah, they made the right pickups at the trade deadline.
Denver did, yeah.
Because he got hurt right before the trade deadline, right? So they were able to bring people in.
I don't remember when that was. I don't know.
I think he got hurt like the week or a couple days before the trade deadline. So they were able to bring people in right after he got hurt.
Yeah, Denver is still good, though. They're going to have the MVP is on that team. So even without Murray, you think they could at least win a round. But I'm surprised Miami's playing as badly as they are. I always thought Milwaukee was going to make a big run this year because I think they're kind of sick of not making deep runs with a player like Giannis. But Miami has no chance in that series either. So, and then the Knicks, Hawks, I think that's going to go at least 6, I would assume. The Knicks had to fight and claw to win the game tonight. So I think Knicks fans that I've at least heard from are kind of underestimating Atlanta. So I think that's going to be a really close series, and it's going to be a dogfight. And then the Suns, this is why I didn't want the Suns to have the Lakers in the first round. It's like, I don't know if I want to say this, but it's hard enough to beat the Lakers, but then you also have to beat the refs, and that's kind of a combo that's undefeated. So,
well, the worst to go with this too, I like how it wasn't until after Golden State got knocked out that then that article came out that LeBron shouldn't have even been able to play against Golden State because he had violated NBA protocols, health and safety protocols, by going to his tequila event. So he shouldn't have even been able to play against Golden State, which then probably Golden State wins that game and knocks.
Suns would play the Warriors.
Yes.
And then the Lakers would beat the Grizzlies, and they would be playing the Jazz. But the rules don't apply to LeBron. I mean, I think we already know that. So,
but it's funny how that article didn't come out, right after they played Golden State. No, that article came out after Golden State got knocked out.
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, it's not surprising, though. And the big thing for my Suns is that Chris Paul, shoulder injury, didn't really play very much last night. He didn't look right when he was playing. They could have won that game, though. They were in it. And,
is it his shooting arm or his left arm?
It's his right arm, yeah. Cameron Payne's very good behind him, but he's not Chris Paul. So Chris Paul is listed as probable for tomorrow's Game 3. I'll take a split against a team that when LeBron and AD aren't playing, if one of them is on the floor or neither of them are on the floor, the Suns are so much better than the Lakers. And I think even when they're both on the floor, the Suns are still better. I mean,
I saw a comment on ESPN's Facebook. They put a video of like the lob from AD to LeBron, and someone's comment was, "This is why he's the GOAT." I'm like, because he caught one alley-oop and dunked it? That makes him the GOAT?
Well, LeBron, his game last night was pathetic. I mean, he was standing around most of the time.
But that was only video. It was just that clip of him catching a lob and dunking it. It wasn't like the game highlights. It was just that one clip. And they're like, "This is why he's the GOAT." I'm like, because he caught a lob pass on a breakaway and dunked it?
Well, it is what it is. So we got a few more NBA things to discuss here.
Yeah, in your views, the Nets, the Nets title to lose.
They're not gonna. The Nets are gonna win it all. I think even if Kyrie or Harden got hurt, they would still win. So that's kind of how I view it. I think Milwaukee's gonna be very.
If Joe Harris shoots like he did last night,
and they play defense, then who's beating them? And they have good depth. Like, people were worried about their depth since they traded Karis LeVert and Jared Allen. Still have good depth. Blake Griffin's fine. He's serviceable. And Jeff Green's good.
Just imagine if LaMarcus Aldridge was still able to play.
Yeah, that was a brutal break, but they still got guys there, like Nick Claxton at the 5. So I don't really see how they don't win it all.
Isn't Jordan still there?
Who? DeAndre Jordan, I guess, yeah.
I mean, he's still there, right?
He doesn't play.
He's still a rim protector that's viable to play.
If he had to, yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. A few more things there.
But, then you had the Knicks. Julius Randle, he won the NBA's most improved player, which the way they showed it to him, it was his kid. I think it was through a video. His kid handed it to him through video. I don't know if they put it on the big screen, did it like at halftime or during a break in the game or something. But and I saw video in the middle of the season. He said he owed it to Kobe because Kobe showed him it's not about how you do it after the season. It's how you do it during the season. Like when you get off the plane, you find a gym. Either if it's a high school or a rec gym, you find it. You go to that. You work out. Then you get to the gym early, you work out, you do it after the game. You go on your flight, you repeat. And you just get the contacts for these people, these gyms. They know when you're coming. You shoot them a text, "Hey, I'll be at the gym at such and such time." The guys will sit there and have the gym open for you.
Yeah. I mean, 98-2. Was the voting, so he won it easily, and he deserved it too. I mean, he basically took a Knicks team. I know they had pieces around him that emerged, but he took a Knicks team that was slated to be bottom 3 in the league, and they ended up as the 4 seed in the East. So.
I mean, they got young talent.
Yeah, quickly was very good. Obi Toppin started to play better towards the end of the season. But who would have had Reggie Bullock and Alec Burks being significant players on a playoff team? And also
Reggie Bullock,
and Taj Gibson.
Reggie Bullock, he started out his career hot coming out of North Carolina. I forgot. I think he went to the Clippers right away.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that.
And he started out just as a 3-point shooter wherever he started. It was either he started there or maybe Houston. And that's all he did was shoot threes. And then he just faded away for a while.
Clippers, yeah.
Man,
played 11 games for the Suns. Don't remember that.
When was it he got drafted? What year?
2013.
Man, I remember that from 8 years ago.
25th pick. Yeah. All right. What else do we have here? Something about A-Rod, I'm sure.
The Hornets picked up the option for their coach, James Borrego, for his third year. And then the A-Rod partnership deal with the Wolves, not finalized as it would violate partnership. Him and the other guy he went in with, one of the guys is battling against it because A-Rod and his partner who went in, they are trying to move the Timberwolves from Minnesota. But in the deal, or however it's the whole thing is made up, they're not allowed to do that without so many percentage of the ownership. So it would void their partnership or something, but their partnership's not even finalized yet. So they're trying to do this without even being fully partnered yet.
What a mess. I mean, that's why A-Rod created.
So yeah, he's not even a full partner yet, and they're already trying to move the team while the team's in the playoffs.
What a joke. I mean, what an embarrassment. All right, enough about A-Rod. We just spent the most time ever on this program on the NBA, so let's move on to the NFL. Quick ones here. Aaron Rodgers did speak to Kenny Mayne during his last Sports Center ever on Monday. That's all. No need to discuss it. On to the next.
At least Kenny Mayne did cuss at him when he's walked off.
And he tried to get something out of him. I mean, he got a little bit out of him, but I don't even want to talk about it. He's going to be on the Packers. No worries. All right, next.
Once again, you got possible hot spots for Julio Jones. If they decided to keep him, he said he wants out on national TV. He said he would like to go to New England or Dallas. If New England can do this with the wide receivers they have and the tight ends, Cam has no excuses.
Yeah, I mean, that would make a lot of sense for him to go to New England, definitely.
If you already have Nelson Aguilar, I can't remember the rest of the receivers.
Johnny Smith is a tight end, Hunter Henry.
Yeah, with those two tight ends, and I can't remember the other free agent wide receiver, and then whoever else they had already.
No excuse, yeah. I would agree. I mean, the whole Shannon Sharp calling him on air and then not telling him that he was on TV, which you're supposed to do until like the end is when he said it. Very weird situation, but doesn't seem like Julio really cared. So he definitely wants out of Atlanta. So I expect we'll see a Julio Jones trade within the next month.
But if he were to go to Dallas too, he goes there and plays with who's their receiving core?
Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup. They already have too many receivers. He's not going to go to Dallas. No way. And cap space. I mean, his contract's pretty big, so I don't see that happening at all.
But next, 28 NFL stadiums set to have full attendance.
Yeah, it's not surprising. We're starting to see a lot of things happen. I think Indianapolis and Denver, the other two that aren't yet, but I'm expecting that to happen. So they'll have approval for all 30 by September, so that'll be good. And, yeah.
49ers expect Bosa to be ready for training camp. So you think maybe the Bosas might finish the season fully healthy?
We'll see. I don't think both of them will, but I think one of them will.
Odds on which one it might be?
Nick Bosa will stay fully healthy.
Is that the one of the Chargers? Or is that the Niners?
The one of the Niners.
The one who we're talking about now?
Yes.
And then Watt's new signature shoe to show honor to Pat Tillman.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
I mean, have you seen it?
I did not see it, but I heard about it.
I didn't see like a close up on it. I just seen a far away picture. So it's hard to see what like the tributes were in it. And then today, on the Pat McAfee show live, Vinatieri drops a nuke bomb right in Pat and AJ Hawk's lap that he is officially retired.
Yeah, I mean that's about right. I mean, I think it was time for him to retire. He's been there or been in the league forever at this point. So,
yeah,
congrats to him.
NFL's all-time leading scorer, 4-time Super Bowl champ.
Yep.
Guy came out of South Dakota State.
Sounds right.
Whatever is it? I think it's the Jackrabbits is who he played for.
Yep.
Then he went overseas, played somewhere in like Amsterdam area. Then had a battle in New England against another guy who was really good.
Yep.
And played there, then left, went to the Colts, and stayed there till the end.
Boom. And he was really bad a couple years ago. Really bad.
Main injuries, I think, is just legs. I mean, just like Pat, like he said, he's like, I quit kicking. I got tired of having knee surgery and knee surgery after knee surgery.
Yep.
But now Vinatieri's asking Pat to help his kid because his kid's a punter, just booming balls.
That would be good for him. Pat is one of the legends of the game at the punting position. One of the all-time greats.
And then NFL sets 2022 cap ceiling at $208.2 million.
Yeah, I expected it to go up, so that'll be good for teams with the need to extend players.
What was it this year?
I want to say like 190 something or 180 something. I don't know what the number was, but it's going to go up a lot, and they're going to get lots of revenue back. You got to think full capacity for stadiums. You're going to be selling out almost everywhere.
So the Saints were ahead on the game with that whole deal with Taysom Hill.
That's total cap manipulation. They should be literally destroyed as a franchise and probably relocated and stripped of everything. So that's just my thought on it. All right, let's go to college basketball. I got some news here. Drew Timme from Gonzaga, who made a lot of headlines this year, will return for his junior season next year. He's going to be the Player of the Year, National Player of the Year favorite, no doubt about it. Gonzaga is going to be very good.
The stash is back.
Can Gonzaga actually finish the job this year? We'll see. I think their team this year is going to be – I don't know if it'll be as good as last year, but it's going to be close, and I don't expect them to run into a Baylor-like team this year. So I think if everything goes right, they'll actually maybe win one this year, but I can't be for sure. But they're going to be – I mean, that front court of Timme and Chet Holmgren, who's the number one player in this year's recruiting class, is just going to be incredibly hard to stop, especially in the West Coast. In the West Coast Conference, I don't expect them to lose another conference game this year. So – I don't see that as that happening. But we got some other things on here as well, I see.
Yeah, the Big 12, from what I read, they're really disappointed in this. But their Big 12 cash distribution to schools about $345 million, which is about $34.5 million per school. They were wanting to try getting $50 million per school.
Well, they can go cry about it. That's all I got to say to them.
When I was reading it, they were kind of crying about it.
Good.
Gonzaga hires ex-player Gentry to fuse staff.
Thus creating the hat trick of all three Illinois assistants leaving. So there you go. Gentry was the director of basketball ops at Gonzaga for a few years and then went to Illinois and then left Illinois for Gonzaga. So boom. 3 for 3. Lost all three assistants. Good job.
Florida adds Oklahoma State's Pastrana to staff. Michigan 7-1 center Dickinson enters the draft but doesn't hire an agent. He's only a freshman.
He's going to go back. Yeah, I'm expecting him to go back. He's going to join a loaded team, too. They got one of the best recruiting classes in the country.
And then Shannon Lum named recruiting coordinator with Nebraska's men's basketball team. Second woman to hold that title in Power 5 conference. First was Bailey Beauchamp at Kansas State.
Yeah, the weird thing about this is that Nebraska in basketball recently with Hoiberg, they've done a good job of recruiting. I mean, I don't know about the translation to the floor and how they actually play, but Nebraska's had some pretty good recruits recently. So this should be a good job to have, especially in the Big Ten. So
yeah, and I didn't bring it up last week too. There was one Duke had hired. What was it?
Duke hired somebody for something, sounds like.
An athletic director, I believe. Nina King. And she's like the she's taken over for Kevin White after 13 years. She's the first woman to serve as Duke's athletic director, and the third black woman to lead a Power 5 conference. Athletics were joining Virginia's Carla Williams and Vanderbilt's Candace Storey-Lee.
It's a good job to have. Good athletics there overall, I would say. Definitely. So
she's served as their chief operating officer, overseeing legal affairs, human resources, strategic planning, and other areas. She chaired the Division I women's basketball committee last season and teaches a course in Duke's business school alongside White.
Seems qualified. All right. You want to go to golf? PGA Championship?
Yeah, under the winner, Phil Mickelson.
Yeah, he shot one over, I think, on Sunday, but Koepka was struggling behind him. Oosthuizen was struggling a little bit. Streelman I thought he might swoop in and maybe contend, but he fell off. So props to Phil, 50 years old, oldest to ever win a major. I think the other oldest was Julius Boros, I believe is his name, who was 48. So 50 years old, Phil, big time,
Shot really 600 for the tournament, $2.2 million purse.
Yeah, that's the
which is his purse too. How much do you think they make from their sponsors after that?
I don't know. That's a good question. A lot.
Like just over that weekend, what do you think you made total?
4 to 5, maybe 6.
Because I don't know how many sponsors he's got.
Well, he's got Callaway's a big one for him. And whatever that shirt he wears, that workday shirt, it's got to be something there. So, and he uses G4 golf shoes. I'm sure that's all sponsored. So, I mean, he dominated, no doubt about it. And I do think he played a little slower than people probably would have liked. He's played pretty slow. So maybe that caught people off guard or caught his opponents off guard. I know Koepka's a guy who doesn't want to play slow, and Phil kind of played slow, but is what it is. That is major number 6, I believe, for Phil. So props to him. This is a good one. Brooks Koepka, a Golf Channel interview. It was one of the takes. It didn't air, but it was leaked on social media. And his rivalry with Bryson DeChambeau continues. Basically what it was Brooks was saying something, and then Bryson walked behind him and was like getting interviewed or talking to somebody when he walked behind him. And then Brooks rolled his eyes, and then he said he effing lost his train of thought. Then he said, hearing that bull bleep. And then the interviewer said, we're going to have a lot of fun with that with the producers or whatever when they look at this. And then Brooks was like, I honestly wouldn't even care. So, and then there was a whole thing on Twitter today. And now you got this match coming up on TNT. July 6th, which is a Tuesday, weirdly enough, at Moonlight Basin, a Jack Nicklaus course in Big Sky, Montana. It'll be Phil Mickelson and Tom Brady versus Bryson DeChambeau and Aaron Rodgers. Brady making some terrific memes today on Twitter. That was fun. And then Brooks Koepka tweeting, "Sorry, bro," at Aaron Rodgers because Rodgers has to play with DeChambeau. So, and then DeChambeau was like, "It's fun living rent-free in your head." He said that to Brooks. And then Brooks fired back with a video of someone yelling, "All right, Brooksy," whenever Bryson hit a drive at the PGA Championship. Someone yelled Brooksy, and then he got mad about it. So it's good for golf, good rivalry, fun to see. But, yeah, it should be interesting. Phil and Brady against DeChambeau and Rodgers. I would say that Rodgers and Brady, in terms of what I've seen from them in golf, fairly even. I don't really know how they'll play. But Bryson and Phil should be interesting to see because last time they did one of these, it was Steph Curry and Peyton Manning against Phil Mickelson and Charles Barkley, which isn't fair. The team with the PGA Pro is going to win no matter what. So you actually got two of them this time. I know the one from about a year ago was Brady and Phil against Tiger and who was the other one? Peyton, yeah.
Yeah, so they couldn't have found another older golfer to go with Aaron?
I don't know. I mean, a Tiger would be great, but obviously we know what happened to him and his.
That's what I'm saying. There wasn't another.
I don't think there's anyone that's older that's even close to Phil right now.
Sergio?
Yeah. He doesn't really get any draw. Nobody's gonna watch. Nobody cares about Sergio Garcia. Let's be honest. I think what would have been good. I like Phil a lot, and he's great in these. But what about Brooks and Tom Brady against Bryson and Rodgers?
What about Will Zalatoris?
Nobody really knows that name at this point. The normal people, that don't follow golf.
They could have brought kids and just got him hammered.
That would have been good too. I don't know if TNT, which is where this will air, would like to hear that language-wise. But another thing that they could do is they had Andre Iguodala commentating a little bit during that one with Curry and them. What if they had Brooks as a commentator for this one? That would bring some numbers. That would be good.
Yeah, we'll probably have to cut him off a lot.
Yeah, I mean, this will be interesting to see. I mean, I just want to see the PGA have some balls and pair Bryson and Brooks up for the first 2 days of a tournament.
They should have at least Peyton doing part of the commentary.
Yes.
To get in Aaron and Tom's head.
I think they'll have definitely some interesting characters on that for sure. We'll see. But we got another tournament coming up this week in Texas.
Yeah, the Charles Schwab Challenge. Defending champion Daniel Berger at Colonial Country Club in Fort Worth, Texas.
This was the tournament last year that I think kind of brought the PGA back. This might have been the first tournament they did after a bit of a pause in April or whatever that was. So interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, when I first saw it said it was a challenge, I thought it was going to be like a pair thing or something. So when I saw it was just a normal tournament, I was like, well, why is it called a challenge?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I have some interesting picks, including an extreme long shot when we do the betting picks later. All right, let's get to baseball. The Mets have a ton of injuries. Conforto, Alonso, McNeil, all on the IL right now. DeGrom just came back off. Syndergaard got pulled from a rehab start due to elbow soreness, so that can't be good. J.D. Davis is hurt. DeGrom went 5 innings last night, had 9 strikeouts. They won the game. He didn't get the win, though. So I don't know what's going to happen. The Mets are lucky that the Braves have been horrendous, but the Braves are starting to wake up. So the NL East is going to be very interesting down the stretch. I still think the Braves are the best. I picked them to win the World Series, and they've been this bad, which annoys the hell out of me with how good Ronald Acuna Jr. has been.
I picked the Indians. I don't want to hear it.
I warned you. I told you when you did that was quite the long shot. Yeah, so other injury news right here, and some weird ones too.
Oh, yeah, the Yankees, Kluber leaves game with shoulder tightness.
Less than a week after throwing a no-hitter, by the way.
I think it was his next start.
Yeah, it was. It was his next start,
yeah. Phillies put slumping slugger Harper on 10-day DL or IL now. Forgot it's not the DL anymore.
And it used to be 15 days. Now it's 10.
Indians, how do you say his name?
Please.
He breaks his thumb ripping his shirt off.
Apparently got caught on a chair, so most baseball injury ever, probably.
And then Syndergaard leaves his rehab start with sore elbow. Joe West umpires his 5,376th game to set MLB record.
Then completely screwed up today's Cardinal White Sox game with that BS, making Gallegos take his hat off and switch hats because he had something on it. Like, everybody doesn't do that. Then Mike Schilt got pissed and got thrown out, and then he made some comments after the game about how everybody does this. And if you want to start doing it, you want to start exposing people now, then do it. And he knows he's going to get fined for it. So that was a whole big thing that Joe West created for no reason. It's like, have you seen Craig Kimbrell's hat? I mean, he's got like brown stuff all over the front bill of it. But Gallegos had like a combination of rosin and sunscreen on it from going like this and that kind of stuff. And then Joe West makes him switch hats. The weirdest thing I've ever seen. And Joe West loves Joe West. So he's going to.
I thought if they even thought you had anything at all, you were thrown out.
I don't understand. I don't really get the.
So I didn't think he was even going to be able to pitch. And then when they let someone bring him out of their hat, I'm like, huh?
Well, Schilt basically said after the game that everybody cheats. So if you want to start setting that precedent, MLB, then do it. Let's see it. See if you have the stones to do that, which they don't and they won't. So the likes of Trevor Bauer will not get taken down by something like this. So the whole thing's a mess. But anyway, some brutal news for the Braves.
Yeah, Marcell Ozuna out at least 6 weeks with 2 fractured fingers, sliding into third base. His middle and ring finger, no surgery needed, though. Said just rehab. They didn't say which hand it was on.
He's got a hand protector thing on his left hand, like an oven mitt.
So which I hate those things.
I mean, they'll probably protect you better than other things.
No, but half time it's like they don't expose fingertips or anything, so it almost seems like it adds onto your hand, which gives
us depending on how tight it is.
So it almost seems like it gives the players an advantage.
They should have a regulation. Regulate it to where you can't have one that's past your fingers or something. I don't really know how they do that, but
because the first player I ever saw wear one was for call.
Mm-hmm.
And you could see his fingertips coming out the end.
Yeah. Well, lots changed.
Because you'd think if you wore that, you would still want to be able to grip the bag when you slide, so you didn't slide past the bag.
Yeah. It's a weird one.
Not if it was past your fingers or covered your fingertips. How are you supposed to grab anything?
You just don't.
Well, the Cubs placed their second baseman, Nico Horner, on the 10-day IL with a strained hamstring, which is a big hit to them. He's been playing really good defense.
Yeah,
hitting the ball pretty well. And then the top 3 teams in MLB right now, you got the Padres at 31-18, the Rays at 30-20, and the Dodgers at 30-18.
Boy, did the Dodgers shut everybody up real quick. I mean, geez. The Padres, too. What they've done is pretty insane. And then the Rays may never lose again. So lots happening. So we'll see if anybody.
Yeah, the Dodgers went on a big slump and then have just.
Yeah.
Whoop.
Yep. All right, let's talk about the NHL. I mean, the Oilers are a mess. What a joke. You got the 2 best players in the league right now, probably when it comes to point production, and you get swept in the first round. Now, I will say, the series was very close. Like, the Jets didn't have a lead in 3 of the 4 games they won. So that's messy. The Oilers didn't get the bounces. Plus, they're relying on a 39-year-old goaltender, Mike Smith, who, let's be honest, is not great. And McDavid didn't have his first goal of the series until the 4th game. But what a mess that is. It's not a Buffalo mess because they didn't make the playoffs this year, and then they won a playoff round a few years ago. But it's a mess. And I just wonder when McDavid's going to be like, okay, screw this. Probably next year if they lose early in the playoffs, he would probably do that. But, I mean, it's a mess. They got to change something there. They got to get better goaltending. They got to get better depth. You can't just rely on 2 guys to win. So we'll see. Another big thing is Ovechkin's a free agent this summer. I expect the Capitals to re-sign him probably before the free agency period opens, but it's something to keep an eye on. Also, Caps general manager Brian McClellan sure makes it seem like they're going to trade Evgeny Kuznetsov. So we'll see if that happens. He's got a pretty big cap number, and I don't really know if he's really playing up to that at this point. So we'll see if they move on from him. And as I mentioned a few weeks ago, Wayne Gretzky is officially headed to TNT as an analyst, going to make about $3 million a year there, I believe. Stepped down as the vice chairman of the Oilers on Tuesday after they lost in the playoffs to do that job. So that'll be interesting. I mean, he seems like a fairly boring personality, but we'll see if he does change some things up and gives us that big-time NHL panel that we're hoping for on TNT, something like Inside the NBA. There's one piece to it right there, and the great one, but Avalanche Nazem Kadri got his third playoff suspension after a dirty, disgusting check to the head of Blues Justin Falk. 8-game suspension. He's appealing with no chance of being reduced. It's not going to happen. But I'm sure you're very familiar with Kadri, who got suspended in 2019 when he was with the Maple Leafs for a cross-check to the face of Jake DeBrusk, and he got suspended for the rest of that series. So third time he's been suspended in the playoffs. So this was another stupid mistake by him, and Falk couldn't play games 3 or 4 after that. I think he could have been back maybe in game 5 if they got there, but didn't happen.
I was waiting for a suspension in that Boston-Washington series. Who are those 2 guys that you were tweeting about?
Oh, man. I forgot.
Holloway? Was that his name?
Hathaway.
Yeah.
Garnett Hathaway. He's in the Capitals. Well, who hit Kevin Miller? Orlov? I think it was Orlov. That could have been a suspendable one.
Well, and then it was Orlov too, or I think that cross-checked Rask in the back.
You know, it's the playoffs, but there's a fine line, definitely. Checks to the head, cross-checks to the face. Dirty hits, pretty obvious that they're going to be suspendable. We've seen a few suspensions in this playoffs already, and I'm sure it's going to become more. And a guy who knows a lot about the playoffs and winning cups is a guy who won 2 of them with the Kings. That's where we transitioned to this.
Yeah, Solomon leaves Kings and will join rival Ducks as VP.
Bit of a weird move. I think the Kings are way more on the up than the Ducks is, but maybe he wants a new challenge.
And then the Leafs, Tavares will miss at least 2 weeks, concussion and knee injury. His knee injury will only require rehab. And then, in surprise move, Robert Morris University cuts men's and women's hockey less than 2 months after hosting the Frozen Four.
I mean, that's as brutal as it gets. I feel bad for the players there and the coaches. And
is that worse than the others?
Yeah, the Hartford thing, that's worse. Yeah. Cutting it completely is worse than moving to D2.
Oh, yeah.
Tournament. Yeah. That's brutal. I mean, it definitely sucks for the players and the coaches, and the whole deal there is just brutal. So we'll see what else happens there. Update on the playoffs. So Bruins beat the Capitals in 5, which I thought that one would go 6 or 7, but it didn't. The Capitals completely were just awful after game 1. I think the Marchand goal to win it in game 2 kind of killed them. But the Islanders, I mean, give them credit. The Islanders beat the Pens in 6. I was completely wrong about this series. I said the Penguins were going to sweep them. What an idiot I am. I mean,
I do believe I picked the Islanders.
Well, I just thought that Crosby was going to make another run because I kind of figured losing 2 years in a row in the first round wouldn't sit well, but whatever. So the Islanders Bruins is going to be an interesting series. I think the Islanders always make some sort of weird run, but we'll see what happens. I don't know who I'm going to pick for that yet. We'll find out. Winnipeg, as I mentioned earlier, swept Edmonton, pathetic by the Oilers. Toronto is just dominating Montreal after game 1. They've dominated 3 in a row. They shut them out last night, so 3-1 lead for them. Tampa, I believe, closed the door on Florida tonight. It was 3-0 last time I checked. They beat them in 6. Then Carolina's up 3-2 on Nashville. That's been a very tight series, tighter than a lot of people expected. And right now, the Wild lead the Vegas Golden Knights 1-0 in the third period. They're down 3-2 in that series with a chance to have our first.
Yeah, Lightning won 4-0.
So the Lightning close out the Panthers in 6, and then the Avalanche swept my team in 4, which is embarrassing, but whatever. The Avs are a great team and will probably win the Cup or at least get there. We'll see, but that's your update on the Stanley Cup.
Minnesota's up 1-0 with 15 left in the third.
Yeah, that's a chance to force the first Game 7 against Vegas. We'll see if that happens. That's been another very good series to watch. All right, with that, let's head into the betting picks of the week. Last week, I went 0-1 in the NBA with the Pacers. I believe you had that as well. 2-2 in the NHL, 3-1 in Major League Baseball. So 5-4 last week, 39-31 on the year. My golf picks, I had Koepka. He finished 2nd. I had Rose. He finished 8th. I had Spieth 30th. And Bubba Watson 80th. So there's my picks from last week.
I went 4-5. I had, we both had the Pacers, and we were way wrong on that.
Yep.
I went 2-2 in hockey and 2-2 in baseball. And Justin Thomas and Dustin Johnson, neither of them made the cut.
Brutal week for Justin Thomas. He fell apart quickly.
And I don't remember where Scotty Scheffler and Patrick Cantlay finished.
They weren't much in the mix, I don't believe. But, all right, Charles Schwab Challenge. I am going with the favorite, Jordan Spieth, plus 1,050. Justin Thomas, plus 1,300. Kevin Streelman, who had a pretty nice week at the PGA last week, 5,500. And then I'm going with the big one, the long shot, Henrik Stenson at plus 20,000. Going for it.
I'm going with Will Zalatoris at plus 2,200, Matt Kuchar at plus 6,600, Brandt Snedeker at plus 6,600, and my boy Lee Westwood at plus 10,000.
We'll see if Lee can get it going again for you. We'll find out. Let's do NHL playoff lines for tomorrow. I'm taking the Maple Leafs minus 235 on the money line against the Canadiens to close that series out, and I'll take Carolina minus 141 at the Predators to close that series out on the money line.
I got Montreal plus 195.
Head-to-head there.
And I got Nashville plus 123.
Head-to-head again.
I want that going Game 7.
I'm going to guess that we'll split those. I think Toronto probably wins, and then maybe Nashville wins. Well, I'm all in for Game 7s, especially when my team's not involved. Game 7s are the best thing there is. So NBA playoffs tomorrow. I'll take the Bucks minus 1.5 to go up 3-0 on the Heat. I don't know if the Suns will win, but I think they can cover the plus 7.
You went spreads here, huh?
Yeah, I didn't see I didn't even look at the money line. I just looked at the spreads because the Suns plus 7 was surprising. It was up to 7. That seems a little bit extreme. So I think they'll cover that at the Lakers. Then the Blazers plus 4 against the Nuggets in that game.
I got the Bucks minus 122. I got the Suns plus 255. And the Nuggets plus 143.
We'll see. We'll see what happens there. I think mine are going to be not great going two dogs there.
Well, you text me money lines.
Yeah, I know.
I thought we were picking money lines.
I mean, I could just count mine as money lines, even though I wrote them down as spreads, because I know that I did that.
No, because you can't count it as money lines. I would have picked spreads on those games.
Well, you can
because Suns plus 7's way better than Suns plus 255.
You can take them plus 7 right now. I don't even care.
No, I already picked the money line. I have the Suns winning.
Yeah, I already wrote that down and completely forgot that I did spreads instead of money lines when I texted that. Anyway, MLB lines. These are money lines, right? So
yeah, I hope you
on the same page there. Cubs minus 139 at the Pirates. I'll take the A's minus 140 against the Angels. By the way, Ohtani pitching in that game, going against them once again. Brewers plus 112 against the Padres, and Reds plus 120 against Nationals.
I'm going against you in one game. I got Miami minus 143 over Philly. Tampa minus 190 over Kansas City. White Sox minus 230 over Orioles, who have really let us down since the beginning of the season, sweeping Boston. And then I got the Padres minus 132 over Milwaukee.
All right, we'll see what happens. Lots to come next week, beginning of June. We'll do number.
What'd you say your overall record is?
39-31.
I'm 38-34.
I have one more win. Congratulations to me. All right, number 14 next Wednesday, early June. We will see you then on the Sports Mashup.
Deuces.